Right there.
All right, hey guys, welcome back to Tactical Rifleman. We are here Tactical Tuesday on our sister channel TR Live. You guys already know that because you're here. Kind of cool. We got our usual sponsor here tonight, Sportsman's Guide, the second week in a row. We used to get Sportsman Guide to sponsor us. It was like every Tuesday for the first few years we did live streams. Well, they are back. They're like, we love you. We want to do this. We definitely want to do this. So this part where I ask you guys if you guys can hear me okay, just, put 5x5, whatever. Let me know if there's an echo, whatever it is you got. I'm sitting here looking at my little sound meter, and it's looking at me like, yeah, Carl, it's a little too loud. So anyways, you guys let me know if you can hear me okay. All right. I don't know if you saw the commercial we put up earlier on the grammage, but I have got, tonight we're going to do coffee with a cop. I have got myself a nice big coffee, and instead of creamer tonight, I actually have honey in it. Honey from my bees here. We actually just did a little honey harvest, and honey is a great sweetener. It lasts forever. They actually found honey in some of the Egyptian pyramids, and it was still edible. It's one of those things that doesn't ever go bad. So anyways, good stuff indeed. But we have got Detective Jamie Gap is going to be on the show tonight. Jamie's good people. He really is. And he had this idea, right? And Jamie's background, Jamie was in the Army for a little bit. He was a cop for a while, very proud to be a cop to serve his community. He was on the local SWAT team. He went on to be a detective. And basically, Jamie is just all around good people. And me and him sit down a lot. For coffee every morning. I have people come over. I've got this gynecologist, OBGYN doc that comes over. He just retired. And anyways, him, and sometimes we have a judge. Sometimes we have this person. Sometimes we have that person. Always have my brother-in-law there. Always have my blushing bride, my son. Sometimes his whole band. But we always get together for coffee in the morning, fellowship, hanging out with the family. And a lot of times when we have Jamie there, it is, we get into these conversations. He goes, yes, Carl, you're actually right. But legally, you can't do this or you can't do that. And okay, cool. That's good to know. Good to know what you can and can't do. So anyways, the more we talked about it, I was like, I really need to share some of this stuff with my viewers. So anyways, he's going to be here. I hear my dogs barking outside. I'm looking at the cameras right now, and he is not in the driveway yet. Right? I'll know when he's coming. All right, but good stuff indeed. Before he gets to I want to tell you guys, this month we had, I want to say we're coming up on 11 million views in a single month. That's not too shabby for us. And it's really doesn't really reflect on our usual Friday videos that I put all my work into making great so that you guys actually get good content. Now, these were shorts. My son made a short. He makes these shorts. He puts up a new short, YouTube short, 4 or 5 times a week. He does it. He takes our clips from our old videos. Well, anyways, one of these clips went completely viral. It got 6.3 million views, and but that caused other videos to get a lot more views too. So anyways, if you guys want to help us out, we kind of like to keep the algorithm going. Go to Tactical Rifleman, our YouTube channel, and yeah, that video, we had 5 million views just on that one. That one video is at 6.3 million views in 7 days. So just please like the videos, comment on them. Just say, hey, this is for the algorithm. A comment's got to be like 4 words for them to actually count it, I think. Something like that. But no big deal. And if you don't like it, don't click the like button. If you don't want to comment, don't comment. But anyways, I'd love to see our channel continue to grow, because eventually what I'm hoping will happen is YouTube will say, we dialed him back, but he's still getting all these views. Let's just leave Carl be, because if they actually start watching me, they'd see that legitimately I'm a good person and I'm just trying to make the world a better place. I have a car in my driveway right now. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see who gets out of it. It's either Steve Holland. You guys know we got to have Steve-O here. And or it's Officer Gap. We shall see, guys. We are filming another TR video, one of our premiere videos. It'll come out. It'll be probably a month down the road, but we're gonna film it on Thursday. And my son's getting the gel blocks ready and all that stuff. And what it's gonna be is, some of you guys have been asking questions about 5.56 for home defense, because they hear me talk about how I like M855A1 for the ammo that I keep in my vehicle. But then people say, well, Carl, you specifically say your truck gun. What about home defense? Home defense, what do you use? Do you use a shotgun? No, I don't use a shotgun. Well, okay. You use a rifle for at home. What do you use for home defense? And so anyways, it has come up in past live streams talking about 5.56. What's some of the different types? And basically, frangible ammo is awesome for home defense. It'll still go through a few layers of drywall. When it hits a fluid like the human body, it completely disintegrates. Cool, that's what we want. No over penetration, right? But if you can't get your hands on good frange, there are varmint rounds, all right? This black tip, I believe it's Federal. And again, we'll get into it all in the video. And then this is no shit Hornady home defense ammo. So which is best? So we're going to film it this Thursday. We'll do ballistic gel blocks. I might pull one of my walls out of storage. You guys know I have a few brick walls on my shooting range. But what a lot of people don't realize is I have got 4 foot wide, 6 foot tall walls that are all in storage. I can't leave them out in the weather because they've got drywall and insulation and stuff like that. So I keep them stored in a garage. And here comes Jamie's truck flying up the road right now. All right, so I will have, he just passed my license plate reader. Pulling into the driveway. So Steve is sitting out there in his wife's SUV. Man, people are going to be thinking there's a party at my house. Look, I mean, there's just, my whole parking lot's filled up. My dogs are losing their minds. It's all good. So anyways, we're going to film a video for you guys. Best ammo for home defense. And it's not going to be nothing crazy. I'm going to try to do it with as little talking as possible. I know you guys are like, yeah, Carl, you're long-winded. I know I'm long-winded. I know. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. That's just how it is. So anyways, where did I get this ammo? This is ammo that you guys sent me. They're like, Carl, this is what I run for home defense. Will you give it let me know what you think? So I was like, enough people have asked me that. I'll do a video with just your ammo, not even my ammo, because a lot of people will say, well, Carl, we can't afford that kind of ammo. You get fancy stuff given to you. Yeah, I got that. I do. So they have sent me some of their ammo, and I'll try it out. And so far, it all runs in my gun reliably. Let's see how it does against ballistic gel and light barrier penetration. Man, that is some good coffee, guys. Good coffee. If you've never tried honey in coffee, it's a different taste for sure. The cool part about, if you're going to buy honey, buy local honey. In other words, honey from local beekeepers to where you live. And what you'll find is a lot of people, especially when you get older, they have allergies in the springtime when all the pollen comes out. And that's because you're going from zero exposure to that pollen, that antigen, that protein that your body's allergic to all of a sudden it's everywhere. Every time you breathe, your nostrils fill with it. You have an allergic reaction that is worse than the last time. That's why your allergies get worse and worse and worse. Why kids are not allergic to all the ragweeds and everything that adult people are. So by you using local honey, that's honey that the bees have taken that same pollen that you're allergic to. By you using that honey, they've made the honey out of what you're allergic to. Now, you're not going to have an allergic reaction to it, but what it does is your body is being exposed to insanely small amounts of it, and your body will actually build up a allergic reaction to it. I got Steve, and I don't know who that was with Jamie. That's Jamie Gap for sure. And he's got somebody else with him carrying a thing of beer. Okay. All right. The night vision, the IR camera, I couldn't tell who it was. Man, that is some good coffee indeed. So anyways, by you using honey from local beekeepers, one, you're supporting local economy. That's always a good thing. And it's better for you, really is. All right. I know you guys don't want to talk home remedies and survival medicine. So let's get back to talking guns and everything. Emery Morgenstern wanted me to pass on to you guys an update that those of you that are coming to the Patreon course, we will probably say goodbye to Emery at the Patreon course. Not 100%, but he has said he is at least going to try to make the gun runner pistol course, which is 21-22 October. How you doing, Steve?
Good.
How you doing? Jamie out there?
Yeah.
I saw him. Tell him I'm ready for him whenever he's ready.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. All right, Steve Holland just dropped off his bag of woe. Good stuff indeed. All right, but yeah, Emery has been busy, guys, getting kit ready and everything to go over to Israel. I don't care about your political views and everything. Just, you know, if my country was at war, I would want to support them also. Oh shit!
Uh-oh.
He even got a haircut for that. I thought you were gonna wear some sexy cop uniform.
No, that's too much.
Instead, he put on a TR t-shirt.
Patreon. Patreon gets the sexy cut. I did bring you this because why does your buddy, why does he got his own thing and you don't? There's not a car, there's the preacher guy. No?
Ooh, he brought me a helicopter. All right, let me see
Got
that yellow shabab.
Got it for Ada.
Got it for
She was-
for your daughter.
She was playing with it today and I said, yeah, it says Night Stalker on the side. Look at that.
It does.
Yeah.
Guys, this is what my patrons are going to be shooting out of at our Patreon course. Not this weekend, but not this Friday, but following Friday, our Patreon course in Texas. I have rented a Little Bird and we are shooting from a helicopter. Jamie, how you doing, brother?
Good,
I appreciate you
right?
coming in. I
Yeah.
got you a couple Black Rifle coffees.
Awesome. Tastes delicious.
Yours has got a little cream and sugar in it. Mine, I put honey in mine. It's all good. Honey, you're not on there. Don't snuggle with me. I'll turn
Yeah.
it for you. You creeped me out a little bit there. All right, you got to get just a little closer to center. All right, guys. Jamie Gap. Here's the deal. That is some good. No, you don't understand. You don't get to play with Barbie dolls and
Hold
shit
on.
in the middle.
I was going to tell them this is the video I saw of you. I got to see a video that we were camping and nobody's seen it yet, but he was showing me the last time he was down there and he was on a helicopter literally shooting a pistol flying around. Here's Carl all by himself. Pop, 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 pop. You know?
No. All right. Anyways, yeah, he's cut off already. There's no Patron in that coffee yet, by the way.
Yet.
There's no Patron.
Steve will take care of me.
No Patron in that coffee. All right, guys. So here's the deal. I reached out. I got you guys a cop on the show. Michelle Kuda just signed up for Gun Runner, but he doesn't do PayPal. Can you let him know on Livestream how to pay you and what to do? All right, one of our moderators, Susan Britcher, she just, apparently she's watching it. Guys, I still have a couple slots left for Gun Runner pistol, 21-22 October. If you want to attend and you don't do PayPal, that's fine. Send me an email at tacticalrifleman1@gmail.com. If you've already taken one of my classes before and you have my personal email address, just send me an email and I will hold you a slot. Then you can pay me cash or check when you show up. Either way, I still have to pay taxes on it. I just don't have to pay the PayPal fee if you pay me in person. So if you don't do PayPal, I fully understand. I wish I could get away without doing PayPal. Guys, I want to say we've got like 4 slots left. No big deal. Steve, there's another chair right outside if you want to bring it in. You're more than welcome.
Or you can sit
Right here,
Steve
is on the web, texting, letting everybody know. All right, we have a couple questions here. No, that was last week. All right, sorry about that. No questions yet.
If there's any super chat you guys call it, that's gonna go to Ray Craddock, my boy Ray. So this is nothing, but I just want you guys to be able to ask some questions. We did this once or twice, so people had some
legitimate questions. Yeah, guys, what he's talking about is if you want to do super chat, click the money button and put a question in the chat room. You're all welcome to do a small donation to the preservation of Carl Erickson Foundation. But understand you don't have to. All you got to do is put a question in the chat, and one of my moderators will email it. They'll text it to me. I'll pull up questions. So first question I have for Jamie Gap, me personally, is how is the morale for a lot of law enforcement guys? Because I know for years Black Lives Matter and defund the police and all that, they were shitting in everybody's mouth. You notice that's gotten a lot quieter with the burning down of the cities. Is morale getting better or is it still shit?
I'll say this. So when I left the patrol. I left patrol in 2019 from an on-the-job injury. So I did 10 years. I was not ready to leave, but I could see the rookies coming up where I'll take this twofold. One, the people coming up now are not like us. You're starting to see the kids you have to be 21 to be a cop almost everywhere. Most places, this mass exodus, you needed a degree. But we'd all been drank out of water hoses, punched in the face, beat by a belt, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This new generation, and it's not everybody, they don't engage as quickly. And I saw that just with some of the rookies we were getting as I was leaving the industry. And so there was that. And then we had all the bull crap, because I remember I stopped using Facebook in 2008 when Ferguson, Missouri kicked off, because I'm a smart ass. I can't sit back and listen. So I just got off social media, because I would be the idiot to respond to one of these people and then,
you're vocal. I've seen Jamie actually go to town hall meetings and voice his opinion for in support of. It came up a law enforcement officer that people were bad mouthing him because of something he had said on the internet or something, and they twist stuff out of context.
Yeah, in particular, that situation, I kind of agreed with them at first, but one of the people. The example he used was so misinformation spreading that I just called bullshit on that. But so we have the soft kids. They're not pipe hitters, and not every cop is a pipe hitter. That's fine. You don't always have to be the guy. But if you look out in Seattle, Chicago, all these big cities that defunded, and nobody wants to work there, because you're gonna if you're an active cop at all, you're gonna get in shit. You're gonna get wrote up, and that's fine. When you stop trusting your admin above you to write you up without ruining your life or career, then so we lost it. There's been a pretty big mass exodus. I saw something about the read technique. I don't know if they got that, but.
I got a question here from Big Fezzig. Yeah. Can Jamie talk about the read technique?
Yeah, the read technique is a
interview technique.
And for the most part, that's what I've seen everybody use. I like it. I take pieces and parts of it. I I know one guy who you wouldn't think is articulate and necessarily college educated, but he can get into a room, throw out his southern accents, and you'll see him move closer to the person as he's building his case. He's already got his trap set, and he puts his hand on him. Brother, just let it out, man. You know you gotta tell us what's going on, and just get it off your chest, brother.
I want to say that the Reed interview technique
You got the book
is up on one of my shelves. Guys, if you're not familiar with the Reed technique, it's called Reed interview technique, and it is a methodology. They actually go around and teach it. They taught it to at least my Green Beret company got the class. It's a way to basically get somebody to actually admit he's guilty or give up information that he's not wanting to give up without you having to pull fingernails. You understand, if I start ripping your fingernails out, you're going to tell me whatever you think I want to hear. Whether it's true or not, you're going to tell me whatever you think I want to hear. And that's not what you want. What we want is the truth. We want a criminal to tell the truth. We want a bad guy to tell us the truth. If we're trying to get information from this guy about a suicide bomber or a place where they're making vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, you understand, I don't want him to just give me an address. I need it to be an accurate address. So we would try, we got classes on the Reed interview technique, and it's interesting. It is. It's kind of hard to explain, though.
It is. There's no real science, but basically it's this. When you tell a lie, there's your fight or flight almost kicks in, and your body doesn't want to necessarily lie. And there's triggers you can find along the way. But so I didn't do a lot of interview and interrogation. I took interview interrogation 1, 2, 3, found the Reed along the way. But I loved traffic stops. It's like fishing. Now, I was not a dude to give you a ticket because I do stupid things when I drive, but I will ask you and find out if there's anything further in the stop. That was kind of the cool part. You make contact, and then you can say, just in casual conversation, is the sky blue? And you find their baseline of when they're telling the truth or when they're agreeing with you on a true subject. So there's your truth. And then you start throwing out so instead of just saying, hey, are there any guns in the car, any drugs in the car, anything in the car I shouldn't be aware of? Anybody can just say no and probably get away with it. But when you start breaking it down into, are there anything, and you might throw in, you see a rocket launcher just to try and see if they'll laugh. The guy who doesn't laugh, you might want to worry about. Or, any dead people in the trunk. And it's all part of that Reed technique, but you pick and choose parts of it. There's guys in FLETC and guys like him that would spend weeks with people and probably use every technique, but for me it's a toolbox.
If you guys go to Entrepreneur Magazine, it's an online magazine. It used to be a printed magazine. I don't know if it still is, but Entrepreneur Magazine, one of the editors that I met from Maxim Magazine 100 years ago, he went on and worked at Entrepreneur, and we filmed a video for them, how to tell if one of your employees is lying. And that's basically what I did. I did a nice little video with them, and it got like 7 million views or some crazy.
And 3 people got fired.
But it's like one of their best performing videos. I go to Entrepreneur Magazine, Sergeant Major Carl Erickson, how to tell if someone's lying. But basically all I did was I talked about, if you're doing an interview, a new employee, whatever. But a lot of it was based off of Reed technique. So it's kind of cool. I got one here for Jamie, the Gustache 2531. His mom had a lot of kids, right? Gentlemen, being a retired sheepdog, I wanted to say to our military and law enforcement brothers and sisters, I pray you don the armor of God. Blessed are the peacekeepers during these crazy times.
Thank you, Gustache.
Right? I thought he had a question there for a minute.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, dude. I do indeed.
I did see
All right.
one here. Do you want me to go off of this? Or
No. Go ahead. You
I
got
saw
another question up
on
there?
here. Somebody said Jamie. It's Rob. His name is Rob. How do you get out of getting questioned by the police? I'll throw the political answer. Don't break the law first. Second of all, when I started being a cop, I thought, and I had an argument with some close friends on this who didn't live the same life as me. If a cop wants to search your car, let him search your car. You're not hiding anything. You got nothing to hide. Don't worry about it. Okay? No. Now, after being a cop, that's not true. Don't do that. Know your rights. Know your what you can and can't get away with.
Woo!
The joys of being at home, right?
I'm not driving.
Yeah,
I'm not driving.
yeah,
He's driving.
this is
I'm not
his
driving.
studio, yeah, and so
I'm not driving.
I'm actually trying to I'm working with one of the team guys about
What's up, Nick?
teaching a class on knowing your rights in a traffic stop, so that it's with anything in life. You have you have your ammunition. You know your rights, just as if you know a subject before you start spouting out about it. And the best way to not be questioned by the police is either don't break the law, or know when a cop is outside of his bounds. And if he's outside of his bounds, I will say this, and I'll leave it alone. Let him be wrong. Lose your pride. Do what he says, and then sue the shit out of the place later. Because if you try and do anything in between, it's not going to work for you.
It's not going to work
then,
for
and then
you.
you're going to be... Because we think in milliseconds of, I'm on the side of a highway. I've got to get home to my family. Even if this guy is right, it's my job to control the scene. The scene's out of control, so we're going to,
You guys understand that? And I think a lot of people miss that because a lot of people's parents don't teach them. These cops, they've been having bad days. Or you understand? Every time they pull somebody over, that could be like their last. That could be an active shooter right there. They could have just pulled over a murderer. They don't know. Somebody doesn't want to go back to jail. They literally don't know.
Unabomber.
Yeah.
Or,
When he comes up the window, guys, have your wrists resting on the top of the steering wheel. Wrists resting on the top of the steering wheel. What are you doing? You're not gripping it. You're not ready to race out of there and spin the wheel and haul ass. Your wrists, you're letting him see both your hands. That's going to immediately put that officer at ease. All right? When you put down your window, put down all your windows because all you monkeys have got tinted windows in the back. My Suburban, same thing. Back windows are all completely tinted from the factory. He doesn't know that there's not a guy in the back seat with a shotgun pointed at his face. When you get pulled over, and where I learned all this was pulling up at military checkpoints because I've been that guard there. All right? Break your wrists over the steering wheel, put both your windows down, or if they're on both sides, put all four windows down, and be polite. All right? Because you're not going to talk yourself out of a ticket. You don't know what's going on with him. You don't know if they're looking for somebody that looks like you. And like Jamie said, if they're doing something wrong, or if he asks you to do something and he gets out of bounds, okay, he's got a body cam on that you can use against him, and beat him in court. Don't pick a fight with him. Don't pick a fight with him. Yeah. It's crazy how people want to pick fights with cops. That Army lieutenant, that refused. Now I understand he won the lawsuit. He sued. He won the law, but that's because of lawyers. You understand? Lawyers should come right between deer and turkey season. All right. Lawyers are the bane of existence, guys. All right. But that said, there's a place for lawyers. I got that. He won the lawsuit, and the Army they should have fried that lieutenant because he set a bad example for his troops. Yeah. All right. And if you're the lieutenant and you're watching right now, me as a sergeant major, I invite you to get the fuck out of the Army because you're a piece of shit. All right. And honey, that's as PG-13 as I can keep that. All right. I literally would have punched that lieutenant right in the throat. And nobody in the unit would have said anything to me for striking him. No, they wouldn't, because he was wrong. He was 100% wrong. He was a punk, and he needed to just quit running his suck and comply with what they're saying. Manny. Our wayward mod would like to know what Jamie's favorite donut is. Ooh. Don't shoot the messenger.
Well, Manny should know this because he knows me. Donuts are power rings. They're not called donuts.
They're not called donuts.
It's a power ring. And I've never, maybe one time in 10 years that I eat one while wearing uniform. Right, I don't wear uniform, so I can eat all I want now.
Guys, Jamie is the guy that... did y'all see the video clip of me with the firewood splitting sword?
Yeah.
That big Viking. It's a no-shit Viking firewood sword.
He may bring it to Patreon.
That's Jamie's. That's Jamie's sword. Will you let me borrow it for Patreon?
Yeah, most definitely.
So yeah, Jamie. Jamie likes.
I'll say this: when I bought that one donut, it was like going to a brown bag pornography store. You just walk in. You park in the back, you walk up, you wear a long coat so no one sees you, you have a hat down, you go in, you buy the donut real quick, give them the money, you run, burn the receipt and get the hell away because I'm not going to be the cop on Facebook stuffing my face. Beautiful, delicious power rings. So Manny, I would go with let's just go Bear Claw, Manny, you bastard. Let's go Bear Claw.
You're having post-traumatic stress right now.
I want a donut.
He's a full-blown post-traumatic stress.
I hate you,
That's
Manny.
funny. Thank you, Manny. Thank you. I miss you, buddy.
Yeah,
I do.
True.
Annalise and Kyle Beela threw down 10 bones. What's the most comfortable ruck pack you've ever used? Also, Annalise wanted to say hi to Jamie.
What's going on, Annalise?
All right, so what's the most comfortable rucksack or pack you've ever used? I think that one might be directed towards me.
I think so, because I was just...
Not a lot of cops wearing rucksacks.
Yeah, okay. And let's just have him do it because no.
All right. I grew up with the old Army Alice pack, which had a aluminum frame with a kidney pad,
which later became a North Face.
All right. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, Carl, that's so old school. We have big mountain rucksacks now that have all these pads and everything, and they're so much better." Yes and no. All right. You're big. Like I have you've been in my attic.
Yeah.
I have got a little bit of everything up there, guys. Thank you, taxpayers, for buying it all for me. I have a North Face mountain rucksack that is, the top of it's like a foot over my head. But when you look at the rating on it, it is only rated for 60 pounds of gear. 60 pounds of gear. Now, and the reason for that is why would a mountain climber need that much space? It's because his titanium coffee cup, his titanium stove, he doesn't carry any water at all because he's melting snow on his way up. He's got freeze-dried meals. He's got a sleeping bag. He's got a tent. He's got all this cold weather clothing that doesn't weigh anything, but it takes a lot of space. Now, you go to a military mission, because I could carry any pack I wanted, a military mission. One example is, I don't have that picture here. But anyways, we went up on the mountain in Afghanistan, my sniper team, and we each had 11 quarts of water. 11 quarts of water.
Yeah.
All right. We had meals completely stripped down. But we had the spotting scope. We had the owl night sight for it. We had the digital camera to go on the back of it. We had the cable that went to the Toughbook computer. We had the camera that went to the SATCOM radio. We had the cable that went to the SATCOM antenna. And then we had to have all the big lithium batteries for feeding that radio, for feeding that computer. And then you add the SR-25 with 10 magazines and the medical gear and cold weather gear, sleeping bags, hide site material, all that stuff. And I went and got the scale from the medic, the little aid station there, and I weighed my guys without any of their gear and then with all their gear. And I'd move like, all right, put this battery in your rucksack, you give this to him. I would move stuff around. And I got it down to where 3 guys, me and 2 other guys, had 122 pounds of gear, and 1 guy had 120 pounds. And that was as light as we could get it. Literally as light as we could get it. I think we had 2 frag grenades for 4 guys. We had the bare minimum. And that would have completely blown out the seams on that North Face rucksack. So, one, look at your mission. How much weight are you planning on carrying? What we ended up going with, my favorite rucksack, it's tall like a mountain rucksack, but it is based off the old Alice Pack ruck. It still takes an Alice Pack frame, but it doesn't have the pockets on the outside. It's all molly on the sides. It has a pouch on the top, has removable pouch on the bottom. I could zip to get directly to my sleeping bag on the bottom. And you can adjust the weights and there. I mean, anyways, it's I don't even remember who makes it. I just know the Army went from the Alice Pack system to a newer rucksack system, and it totally sucked. Whoever was in charge of that literally should have lost their job, because I guarantee you it was some GS40 piece of shit who had never been in the field before in his life, and he just gave it to soldiers to test out, and of course they're going to say it's better than their Vietnam era Alice Pack. But what they should have done was asked guys that actually carry a lot of weight. So anyways, Annalise, yeah, there's some good, honest, I'd have to go up the attic and check the brand on it. But yeah, there are some good packs out there, but make sure whatever pack you decide on, it will carry the amount of weight that you honestly like to carry. Vertex makes great packs. Vertex, I would recommend them. We actually have a TR code for them. And then Emerald Stock, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Emerald Stock makes packs for hunters, yeah. But the military started using so much of them. Like, I had one of their packs that we ran in Fallujah. It has a rifle scabbard down the back of it. I actually use it as my carry-on bag on an airplane. And that they actually started adopting military colors and stuff for us. So those would probably be the two brands that I would recommend.
Were they the ones that started the modular thing? I mean, now Molly, but back before. So let me ask you this, off Annalise's thing. So when we hike in Colorado or whatever, if you're going for like a week long, to be a good steward of the land, you bring all your trash out with you and all that. But on your guys' end, downrange, you're not trying to, you don't want anybody to know you were there. Now, you're not going to have as many comforts as a guy climbing a mountain in Colorado, but you guys really, does that factor?
As far as the trash goes, hide sites. In training, like your Lursty and your recon guys, you'd get taught, hey, you can pee on the ground, but you shit in a Ziploc bag because you don't want anybody to be able to dig up your trash. Definitely not MRE trash, because that tells you exactly what military it was from. All right, I can honestly say I have shit all over the mountains in Afghanistan, in Kuwait, in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, shit everywhere. You bury it, you hide it. All right, but one thing I will also say is I do not leave any American trash there. I don't. Guys, you understand when the helicopter comes in to pick you up and the helicopter leaves, there's big tire prints on the ground that are front wheel of the helicopter and back wheels of the helicopter. They may not be able to prove exactly what country made the helicopter, but you understand when they cut your footprints and you've been wearing Merrells, and one guy's got desert boots, so you've got Army desert boots and 3 guys wearing Merrells, they're going to know that those are not kimchi flip-flops made out of tires, worn by some caveman. And then they go down the mountain, and all of a sudden there's 3 tire marks and a bunch of wind damage on the ground. You got on an American helicopter. It is what it is. But I will honestly say we always packed our MRE trash out. I did not put feces in my rucksack, though. I did not do that.
Put it in your buddy's rucksack, not your
Yeah. All right. Come on, guys. I understand I asked Jamie to come on tonight so you guys could give Jamie some good questions for law enforcement. And
I got one. Last time I was on here year ago, somebody asked me if we do shenanigans like on Super Troopers and whatnot, and I didn't get to answer it beforehand, so I'll kill some time here. One of my favorite, yes, we do all kinds of shenanigans. The most dangerous thing is a bored cop on midnight shift or four or five. But one of the best tricks I ever played was I had a rookie who I was training, and he was to the point where he didn't need to be watched all the time, and so we got a call of a reckless driver heading into town. Well, one of our guys going home who just got off shift saw that guy driving recklessly, and as he turned around on him, the guy wrecked his car before the other officer lit him up or anything. So he was just so drunk that he rolled his car 3 or 4 or 5 times. Okay, and so we take the call because I have a rookie and he needs all the paperwork. So we're going down there to the call. We get there. This guy has no crap. Rolled his car several times. We're doing some sternal rubs. He's coming to, and ambulance is on the way. So long story short, we get everything handled, and the guy refuses medical treatment, but he's in the back of the ambulance. My sergeant shows up, newer sergeant, and he was a guy from our shift before, so he kind of just got voluntold to become the sergeant, longest guy he had the highest badge number. He'd been there longer, so he got to take it. Get the extra 25 cents an hour to do the same thing we were just doing, only now he doesn't get to have fun. He gets to check all of our jackassery in the reports. And so Sarge gets up and I was like, hey, he's like, what's going on? What we got? And I was like, well, Rook's got the guy in the back of the ambulance. We're gonna arrest him for DUI, and we're just seeing if he's going to need to be checked out first. And I said, but here's the thing, man. His dog died, and he is worried about this dog. He won't shut up about his dog. His dog. Doesn't care about the car. And the reason I said that is because on the way to the wreck, about 25 meters before the wreck, there was a dog that had got hit by a car previously. You could tell it was just
was not involved in this at all.
Not involved. And I love animals more than I love people, but you get the jokes you get. You work with the material you get. And so I always keep a dog leash in the back of my cruiser because when you have a stray dog or a dog out of control, they're either home trained and you open the door and say, let's go for a ride, and they jump in because most dogs who are, okay. Well, the other ones you got to wrangle and whatever. But once they get in the back of the car, you put that little leash on them and good to go. So I took the leash and I put it in the back of the, like right before the guy's car in the road. I said, Sarge, he's looking for his dog. He won't shut up about the dog. I don't want to tell him about his dog, and you're the guy who wanted to be sergeant. And he's like, well, where's the dog? And I was like, took my flashlight and I panned it over to that dead dog laying in the road. He goes, get the F out of here. I'm like, can't make it up, man. You think I joke about a dog? I love dogs. Why would I joke about a dead dog? Like, no way. So me and the other senior guy in the shift are like, you got to do it, bro. You wanted the money. I mean, we're not going to tell him nothing, then fine. You'll just get... And so... The guy opens the back of the ambulance, and he's like, hey, sorry about your dog. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? He said, well, your dog, it didn't make it. He goes, what do you mean? He's like, your dog's dead, man. He goes, man, my dog's dead. He's at home. What are you telling me? My dog's dead? And I was just like, oh, my gosh. And then he turned around and he goes, you mother effers. And we all started just laughing, It's been long enough. I can't get in trouble, but that was one of the funny stories. Yeah,
that's the most jackassery.
That's the one I can think of.
Holy cow! Yeah, I got to get Steve Holland in here. You should see the shit we do overseas. Yeah. Oh my god!
Well, you guys, you have a lot more toys to play with.
Oh my god!
And a lot less.
We've dropped 2,000-pound bombs as a joke.
I don't know how PG how PG rated we are in here, but there's some,
I'm somebody sure is going to text me, Carl. You have the right to remain silent. Okay, I got it, guys. I got it.
It is fun to throw flashbangs.
Man, set a couple babies on fire, and all of a sudden it makes the news. All right, that was inappropriate. That was
and bad timing. I mean, I'm just too soon.
Oh, okay.
Super Chat, please, JR.
All right, guys. I just got a text from one of my patrons. A lot of them are already starting to head to the Patreon course. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Good stuff indeed.
Says to you,
Good stuff indeed. Our Patreon course, if you guys are not familiar with it, it's a 4-day long course. It is restricted to just patrons only, but man, I have got belt-fed machine guns, bunch of full auto guns. I have got 2 Barrett 50 cals. We're bringing some computers and shit to shoot.
I don't want to talk about
I know
it.
you
I don't get to go, and it makes me
I got the Little
sad,
Bird helicopter on day 4.
Must be nice.
We're doing tomahawk throwing, knife throwing. We got TCCC medical class plan. We're doing escapology, how to get out of handcuffs. We're doing lock picking this time, actually using real lock picks, but also how to do expedient lock picks. And we've got a bunch of great stuff planned. And Thursday night, the third night, we're actually doing a costume party after dinner.
Well, all right.
And that's going to be a good time. Me and my wife, we've
What's
already
the
picked our
prize?
costumes out. I am going as an Egyptian pharaoh.
Aha.
And she is going as my smoking hot Cleopatra.
There you go. So who's going to be, I guess, like Randy maybe will be Moses?
I tell you what, if
Will
Randy
be
or Wick,
Moses, or-
whoever doesn't bring a costume, I've got my sweaty, nasty Winnie the Pooh costume from last year.
Still got urine in
the one
it.
I parachuted in. Yeah, it was a water jump in Florida. I parachuted and landed in the bay. So it's
probably up in
been
the attic.
dried, but it hasn't been washed. It is. It's up in the attic.
Probably
when I'm
getting
bringing it.
mold and yeah.
So if you're coming, you better have a costume. I'm not going to be the only one standing there wearing a freaking costume. But the girls wanted to have a costume party. There's a bunch of wives going to this class.
Juan Robles, it says, to Officer Jamie, did you see any regrets and change in mind in the powers that be regretting this defund the police? Yes, I think every single city that defunded the police is now saying, hey,
we screwed up.
we want the police back.
But you
And
notice
as it
they
should
said
be.
it to get elected. Here's the deal, guys. Nancy Pelosi don't give a shit about Antifa.
No.
Nancy Pelosi don't give a shit about
Yeah.
Antifa.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi cares about Nancy Pelosi. So if everybody there wants to hear defund the police so she can make some more money, all right, then that's what she's going to say. She needed riots to go on and get worse, so she had Antifa paid like legal bills and stuff to get them out of jail. But then after she didn't need Antifa anymore, you know what happened? Nancy Pelosi quit paying for them to get out of jail. And all of a sudden you notice Antifa went away. Antifa will not be back until the Democratic politicians need them again. That's just the truth, guys. That's how it works. It is. I don't hate the player, hate the game. That's politics.
Yeah. Because she lives
and
in
she's
a
not
big
the only
house
one.
with a
By all
gate.
means, she is not the only one. Politicians tell you what you want to hear so they can get the vote, and then they have control of your money. That's it. And Nancy Pelosi, she's a master of that stuff. She has made so much money having her husband buy stocks off of her intel so that she can stand there with the lie detector test and go, oh, I didn't do any insider trading. Wink, wink, wink. That was my husband that did it all. Yeah, it's wood chipper. Wood chipper. Wood chipper. When I'm king, every other cop car will have a wood chipper behind it, guys.
It's a pretty good plan if you are in those times. It's fun to watch him light up when he talks about it, but he's never going to be.
You understand? I'm never going to be
Yeah,
king, guys.
yeah,
all right.
so, yeah.
I can't run for public office because I'm not politically correct.
Yeah.
I'm just correct. I am not politically correct. I will not tell people what they want to hear. I will tell people what they need to hear, and I will take my ass chewings for it. I will. My wife. She doesn't yell at me because I'm the one that's deaf. Apparently, every time I say something, I'm yelling. But she verbally counsels me all day long about how I shouldn't say things. And you know what? She's absolutely right. I should keep my mouth shut. I should. But I'm the one with the live stream, not her. So I'm down here with Jamie. And Jamie's like, Carl.
Hey, when mommy and daddy fight, I don't pick sides because then I won't get 2 Christmas presents. You just don't pick sides.
All right, man. Here's the deal, guys. You have got 10 more minutes with Jamie, and then I'm letting this poor boy go. I figured they'd have more questions for you.
I mean, it's a tactical show.
They all want you defunded, dude. They all want you defunded. They're all like, the hell with Jamie. The hell with, all right, hold on. I got another one here.
Yeah.
Dale wants to know, how long was the police academy?
It changes quite frequently now. I don't know what it is now. When I went, it was 6 months of classroom, living at the dorms, and then you came back.
6 months, really? That long?
Yeah, and it was 6 months of right seat, left seat when you got back.
Manny, if you're still in the chat room, brother, you are coming up on that age cutoff. But I would really, Manny, I would love to have you go to the academy, because we need good guys to be law enforcement. We do. So, Dale, if you're on the fence about going to the academy, here's the deal. You don't have to be a cop for life. If it weighs on your heart that you want to serve your community, then by all means, give it a try. You can always say, hey, this wasn't for me, and you can go on. What's that?
With the power ring fun.
Manny.
Dale, I will say this, man. I did a lot of dumb things before I was a cop. Rodeo clown, joined the Army. Being a cop.
Rodeo clown.
Bullfighter. If I say bullfighter, people think I was in Spain, but in PRCA in Colorado. And
rodeo clown.
I didn't make any money. Got a lot of free whiskey. Had a great time. But to me, being a cop was just full contact hide and go seek. I mean, that's all. You get to drive like an asshole, fight in foot race, and have a good time. You get paid pretty well too. So if anybody's on the fence, I would go ahead.
Quo Vadis wants to know, what's the best way to handle concealed carry permits and weapons in a car?
Like Carl said earlier, if you've got a weapon in the car, now I'll just say this. In where I worked, we knew as soon as we ran the plate, they would tell us, hey, this person has concealed
carry permit. No, right. I want that to sink in. If you guys were drifting and you weren't paying attention, as soon as they run your license plate, it immediately comes up that you have a concealed carry permit. Now, understand, you might be in a state where that's illegal, but it doesn't matter. It still comes up national registry. So they know you have a concealed carry permit. All right. So,
and for me, that would put me at ease, because at least you've taken the time.
You're trying to be legal
to do it right.
Yeah.
Because the way I was trained and the way it should be is everybody's armed. Just like Emery and Carl have talked about before, it doesn't matter if it's an old lady or anybody. You always make sure you keep your distance and have your tactics up. But to me, everybody's armed. So the fact that this guy paid some money, went to a class, had some volunteer firefighters show him how to do it, and shot a pretty easy qual, good. At least he knows how to make his weapon safe. If we get sideways and I can say, drop the gun, at least he knows how to drop it without pointing it at
Do you ever ask the guy, is there a weapon in the car?
Yeah, so I kind of, as a young cop, I would do the whole, you can still carry, is it, where's it at? And then I've seen, and I was taught by some guys, that you actually disassemble it, because you run it, see if it's stolen. The more I became a cop, the more Second Amendment I became, and I saw that we need guns to keep the government at bay and, not have tyranny and all that other crap. So I'm not going to take someone's gun apart and give it back to them. To me, that's just as bad as violating their Second Amendment. Can you do it? I'm not legally smart enough. I know people do it. I'm sure you could argue both sides. I know guys that will disassemble the weapon, give it back to them, and say, hey, drive down the road as soon as I'm out of here, put it back together. But in my eyes, that's not fair to that guy. It's Second Amendment. It's his Second Amendment. So Kentucky has changed their laws through the years. When I left, it was legal. You didn't need to conceal it all. You don't need to conceal carry. You can hide it. When I first started, you had to have, I think it was, a weapon had to be visible, but the magazine had to be away from it where it couldn't be rapidly assembled, I think was the terminology. But
couple minutes, Steve. You're up. I've been asked, guys, by cops, are there any weapons in the car? I just go, yeah. Yeah, there are.
I've been pulled over where I stop and my hands are on the wheel and the guy's like, cop or felon. I'm like, what? He's like, are you a cop or are you a felon? Because either you got guns in here or you've been through this before and you know that, yeah, I am. My off duty's right over here. But it's all about hands. If we can see your hands.
Yeah, honest, guys, I can't stress it enough. Break your wrists over the top of the steering wheel. You're not gripping it. Break your wrists over the top. Just be relaxed. And if they ask you, hey, are there any concealed weapons? Like, I am legal to have them. And yes, there are. And I have friends that are like, Carl, why'd you tell him you had a gun? Well, because the platform in the trailer hitch had coolers and Black Pelican rifle cases that all locked down with steel cables. Yes, there are guns in the car. And, I'm just not big on, I shouldn't have to lie. No. There's no reason. Be honest, guys. And here's the deal. If you're in this chat room, you understand you're probably a good person because I'm a good person and I surround myself with good people. And if you're watching this, you understand criminals do not watch Tactical Rifleman and go, man, when I grow up, I want to be as much of a criminal as Carl. They don't do that. If you guys are here, Big Fezzig and JT and Karen Harrison and you understand these are all good people. They're all good people. Even Jerry J.
Yeah.
Jerry J don't want to admit it. Yeah. Smiley face crying. Right. But Jerry J is a good person. He really is. So yeah, guys, if you're doing the right thing, the law is there to protect you. All right, I got another one here. Without further ado, asks, has Jamie ever carried more than 3 guns on duty?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
4 guns? What would you need to carry 4 guns for, Jamie?
Well, no. I mean, carry as in what's in the car or just on my person? Because
on your person.
When you go into the jail, you have to take all of the guns out. You cannot bring a gun into the jail, and so you don't want to be the guy, not that I've ever been that guy, but you don't want to be the guy who is doing paperwork and realizes, oh man, I got something, my ankle's heavier than the other ankle. Oh, let me walk out to the car real quick and, so.
Take the ankle holster off.
I don't
like ankle holsters because you can't run with them.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't run. I need to be able to run. Run, hide, barricade, fight.
Yeah.
And
your pistol gets you to your rifle, so pistols are as good as you are. Him and I both know guys that have a minimal number of mags on them, so they have a minimal number of rounds. I started with Smith & Wesson 40s, and I just kept Smith & Wessons because I wanted to be able to interchange my mags if I got into some stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And Smith & Wesson makes good guns, guys. They do.
But he taught me something about my ankle carry. I had it on my weak hand, and you gave me a scenario in which if you're on the ground with a guy and your legs cross behind his head, you can grab it, and so everybody's like, didn't you carry on your left? I was like, well, I did until I met this guy, and I started talking to him. He brought up some really good points.
A lot of his friends think I'm a bit of a nutbag. What do they really?
No, they think
Did they actually watch Tactical Rifleman?
Yeah, quite a few of them, and the ones that don't, they sure love the videos when we show it to them. And like, hey guys, we've tried to recruit some people for. Operation Valkyrie and Op Force and stuff, and but
on Sundays, if we're in town, we usually shoot Sunday 2 p.m. after church because I need to maintain my muscle memory, right? So I always invite people over, and sometimes Steve will be here, Randy Worse, everything, but we always invite the local law enforcement, and sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. But the new cops that come, if it's their first time there, and it doesn't matter if he's been a cop for 20 years, 25 years, their first time they come, they're barrel chested. They're like, yeah, I can shoot. What's their opinion that first day?
They get humbled really quickly because this guy, and once you learn it, it becomes funny. But not a lot of guys can take ball bust and or And I can't tell you how many times I'm up there and I'm doing, and he's like, "Don't worry, you've got the rest of your life to think about it." And it's kind of like the, fix it, fix it, fix it. And after a while, you're just like,
But I've made you a better shooter.
100%.
Better tactical shooter.
And he's in that mindset of keeping the stress because, well, like shooting with both eyes open, you could think you're going to close one eye when the adrenaline hits. No. So,
you saying you're going to close your non-dominant eye when you're in a gunfight is the same as you saying you're going to keep your heart rate at 60 beats a minute. You can't do it. When you're in fight or flight, your pupils dilate. Why do they dilate? It's because your brain is scared. It's screaming for as much information as possible. You are not going to be able to close one eye when you are in fight or flight. Don't get me wrong. If you're 400 meters away behind a sniper rifle or behind a cruiser or something, yes, you'll be able to do that. But if you're inside the room, you're within melee distance with a guy 1 to 3 meters away, 5 meters, there's no way you're going to be able to close that dominant eye, non-dominant eye. You're not going to be able to do it. All right, Jamie, I appreciate you coming. I'm going to do one last check. All right. 1911 Smoking Gun asks, has Jamie ever done SWAT training with no instructors like John McPhee or Bob Keller? I don't know who either one of those guys are.
I never did SWAT training without any instruction.
I think that was a typo. I think he met with.
There are departments that will put together a SWAT team and can't afford or be able to send people to school logistically. There's one SWAT school in the state. It was run by Louisville PD. But then they went to a full-time SWAT team, and so it dropped down to the Kentucky State Police is the cadre, and they can only do one class a year. I waited 3 years. I got on the team, but I wasn't allowed to do much other than drive, be perimeter, until I went to SWAT school, graduated from SWAT school, and then I became an operator, if you will. And so I have not done any without proper training just because I wasn't allowed to. But there are teams out there, there are guys out there that, ragtag it together and you do what you got to do. I know one that said, hey, we're not a SWAT team, but if something happens, everybody's getting called, so it doesn't matter if you're on the team or not.
Yeah.
So,
everybody's going to show up. Active shooter at a school, everybody's coming. Every police department nearby is going to descend on that school.
Yeah, and they better. And,
and that's why it's good to keep your tactics very generic and not fancy. Now, fancy, and if you get into specialty units, Delta, places, teams like that, fine, they can do any tactics they want. But if you're going to let everybody descend, it's better that everybody is on the same generic plans than have them all using their own sexy little techniques that don't match up. All right, Jamie, I'm going to let you go, brother. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. And guys, Jamie Gap, we will have him back on again in, we'll give him a couple of months. We'll have him back. Or I'll tell you what, if you guys, I caught you off guard, and those of you watching this, you'd like to have me do Coffee with a Cop again in the future, put it in the comment section below. Let me know, hey, this was good. You want, you've got ideas for more questions next time. And like I said, man, Jamie was good people, still is good people. He's still serving his community. And I'm proud to call Jamie and all of his brothers and sisters in uniform part of my friends and family. They are. So Tyler Thomas, Michael Phelps, all you guys out there that are wearing the uniform tonight, my hat's off to all you guys for all that you do indeed. Guys, we're going to bring Steve Holland in tonight. I got to give him back his EOTech. I took it off of his LAR 47 because I wanted to put that 5X magnifier on it. But I got to make sure Steve gets his personal EOTech back. Good stuff indeed. I want to give you guys a reminder. You heard somebody asking earlier about Gunrunner Pistol. If you are in the Dallas area, or you can fly into the Dallas area. I only have 2 classes left this year that are open to the public. One of them is Gunrunner Pistol. It is 21 and 22 October. That is this weekend coming up. All right, today's Tuesday. It's not too late to sign up. I've got a couple slots left. Again, reach out to me. You can sign up online if you don't want to do PayPal. Send me an email, tacticalrifleman1@gmail.com. I need your t-shirt size. No, we're not doing t-shirts for this class. It's too late. You signed up too late. All right. And then the last class of the year, last public class of the year is the first week of December. That is high-risk travel. High-risk travel is a 3-day class. I just had a guy ask to sign up today, but I still have a few slots left for it. Actually, I think the class is only like half full. That doesn't bother me because I like smaller classes, are better interaction with the students. You're going to learn how to travel safe, how to act on an airplane during a hijacking, buses, taxis, hotels, restaurants, surveillance, counter surveillance. Literally, you're going to do surveillance ops. You're going to do counter surveillance ops. We get into escapology, improvised weapons, all kinds of stuff. You will be picking handcuffs, well blindfolded in the trunk of a car. It's good. It's good training all across the board. Steve, how you doing?
Doing well, KE. How you doing?
Oh, snap. He just put on those dark sunglasses, which means Steve Holland is ready for the masses. How you doing, man?
I'm doing
Good to
well,
have
brother.
you. Good to have you.
How's your knee?
Knee is doing awesome. It really, really is. It is. It's a little sore. I got on the rowing machine for a little too long today, but all in all, the pain is gone. It's just tight. I don't have my range of motion with it. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, I had a full knee replacement back in June, and they say it's 12-month recovery. I believe that now. I really do. So I can get on my mountain bike. I can do the rowing machine. I still can't run on it yet. Sitting, like kneeling shooting position, I can sit on my other knee, my right knee. I cannot sit on my left foot. In other words, that left knee will not bend far enough yet. I'm working on it, Steve. I'm working on it. Part of growing old, man. Part of growing. I'm not as young as you are, dude.
Part of having somebody cut open your knee with a scalpel and sew it back together.
All those Halo jumps. And Steve was on a Halo team also back in the day. Actually, you were on one before I was.
Yeah, I was on 2 different Halo teams.
He's not allowed to talk about Project Blue, Green Light. My background's blue light. Your background was green light. But yes, Steve was the guy. How many times did you have to jump the package, you personally?
I think I probably jumped the monkey about 11 times.
The monkey. I'm sorry, I gave it the wrong name. The monkey. How many pounds? 85?
I'm going to say 105.
105-pound thermonuclear weapon. I know, Steve, you're not allowed to talk about. Guys, back in the day, we don't do it anymore. The program has been declassified for the public, but he has not. You understand? He signed a NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
I signed a bunch of things, and I don't remember what it said.
And that's a whole thing until they say, for a fact, Steve, you're allowed to talk about it. Steve's playing it safe. But back in the day, we don't need it anymore. We've got Tomahawk cruise missiles that can deliver football-sized warheads, because that's how fat around a Tomahawk is, by the way, guys. About the size of a basketball is as big of a warhead you can put in it, which is big, by the way. We have that capability now. We didn't have that back then. So Steve was on one of the teams who part of the Cold War tactics was, how do we get our B-52 bombers across the Soviet Union? Well, you fly them across, right? Well, to do that, there can't be any backfire bombers, but there also can't be any MiGs. How do you stop the MiGs from getting to the B-52s? Well, you've got to blow up the MiGs on the ground. And you understand, by Soviet doctrine, they put a 1-kilometer minefield around all their air bases. Go look it up, guys. They do it to this day. All right. So what do? You need something where they blast more than 1 kilometer deep. So and tactics have changed. We don't do that anymore. It's a very cool topic, though. If you go our old Cold War doctrine, there were everybody's familiar with the Nike missiles that were on the coasts. And the job of them was you shoot this Nike up into the air, it blows up with a nuke with the intent that it's going to knock all the other nukes out of the air like they're playing Missile Command. You know, so they don't have Nikes anymore. Those Nike missiles have all gone away because they did studies and basically that would have rained radioactive fallout all over the U.S. So we did away with Nikes. But back then we had mortar 4.2 inch mortars. You remember the 4.2 inch?
Yeah, 4 deuce.
That was the 4 deuce mortar was the smallest nuclear weapon used by the U.S. military, and it was a 4.2 inch mortar shell, about that big around, guys. And when you hung that mortar round, you were already danger close for the blast. And it had to have so many extra charges, cheese charges on it, that if you hung one 4.2 inch mortar round, the blast was so strong it deadlined the tube. It was actually bulged the tube. It would launch the thing a undisclosed distance, and the nuke would go off. But that mortar team was still danger close. Why would you do something like that? And the reason why they had them was so if the Soviets started running their tanks, I'm sorry, it'd be this way for you guys, across Eastern Europe, into Western Europe, into Western Germany and France and everywhere else. How do you stop all those tanks? You need time to get your tanks into positions. So if there's a brigade of Soviet tanks coming and all you have is a mortar team, you're a speed bump. Hang a 4.2 inch nuclear bomb and that will slow the tanks down. Those tactics are no longer being practiced. They've been mothballed. But it is a very interesting period in our military history. Like right now, the big push is drones and everything else. But back then, guys, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, we had some silly shit.
Yeah, we did.
We had some silly shit back then. If you guys ever go to Vegas, I know some of you guys go to Vegas. Some of you guys like to play the slots. I don't gamble. I honestly believe I used up all my luck overseas. I couldn't hit a $2 scratch off at a gas station. But if you ever go to Vegas, it's about 3 blocks off the strip. It is the Atomic Energy Museum. Mercury, Nevada is where 5th Group used to go train all the time, do our desert training. Mercury, Nevada is the Mercury test site for Department of Energy. So back in the day when Vegas was just a little strip and you had the Flamingo Hotel there, and they would actually post when the nuclear blasts were going to be at Mercury. So they were in the Las Vegas newspaper, so all the gamblers could come out of the casinos, look north, and see the mushroom clouds. That's how close it is. You've got Vegas, the city. You've got Nellis Air Force Base. You've got Nellis Impact Area. And right above that is Mercury, Nevada. And right above that is Area 51. So if you guys, everybody knows where Area 51 is on the map. Look for Oswald, New Mexico, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Area 51.
Area 51.
Been there.
Me too. I actually was up on the mountain. They were watching me. Their security guards were watching my team inside Mercury. And I saw the glint off of their spotting scope. They were watching my sniper team in Mercury, Nevada. Anyways, if you pull it up, pull up Mercury, Nevada, the Department of Energy test site. You can do this. Don't do it right now. Do it in an hour. But you can pull it up, and it looks like the surface of the moon. There are so many nuclear craters out there, and that's where they still send 5th Group to go do our desert training. We have to wear the Radiac badge. I know, you remember. He remembers wearing the Radiac badge.
You know, when we went out to 51, you know, everybody heard about 51, about the you know.
Aliens and everything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Well, we were actually in the facilities there at 51.
Were you really?
Yeah, because of our mission.
Okay.
And
Makes sense, right?
what really got to me about 51 is when we turned off the exit, probably 2 miles from turning into the compound, you had all these RVs.
Aliens and shit. Yep.
And aluminum foil and
Tin
people-
hats.
People had
Plastic
tents.
aliens.
They had tents with aluminum foil over the top of the tents. All the windows to the RVs, I'm talking about hundreds of RVs, was all the windows were covered in aluminum foil. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was interesting.
You guys, because you guys like your little bit of trivia, and you're only going to get it here because we don't care. All right. A lot of people don't realize you guys keep hearing it, right? About every year, a couple of years, you hear about Area 51, right? Because it was in the news a couple of years ago. There were some people, activists, that said that they were going to storm the gate at Area 51, actually break in to find all the aliens, right? You notice the military actually allowed all that to hit the news. As a matter of fact, they encouraged it to hit the news. And the military kept that story going. Hey, understand we are authorized to use deadly force. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they squash that story? Because you understand, guys, Area 51 is the old base. I understand that's where Skunk Works was and everything back in the day. All right. If you go, I think it's 20 or 40 miles due east, there's a new base because they needed a longer runway. They needed new facilities. Okay. And you won't ever hear about that one. And that's why I'm not going to say anything about it on the internet, because that would be wrong. But that's why they will always keep Area 51 in the news, because they want all the tin hats. They want all the alien guys to think that Area 51 is where all the aliens are playing poker with. They got John Lennon there. They got Elvis. They've got Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson's
A bunch of guys. Elvis, I guess, runs the place.
Yeah, I think Michael Jackson went home. You know, if they were to storm the gates at Area 51 and part of the facility where we were,
It'd be so let down.
they would be so let down because
Ain't shit there.
even if you got to the facilities that we were not even allowed to approach, you would have to have a thermonuclear weapon to blow those doors.
Yeah.
I mean, those doors. I mean, we used to do nuke missile silo vulnerability assessments.
Yeah, Vandenbosch fell in that one missile silo and broke his back, dumbass.
I mean, we got to a couple of the silos, but that was it. There was nothing you can do physically. I don't care if you had the best breacher in the world. Nothing you can do physically to get inside those silos. It's just impossible. It just can't be done. Now, if you had the monkey, and remember,
You had the monkey.
you don't jump the monkey. The monkey jumps you. You just
You're
alone
basically just trying
for the
to
ride.
keep it stable.
No, you literally had to sit down.
Because they weighed that much, you
They
were
weighed that
dropping
much.
straight. Wow.
And they were not aerodynamic.
Yeah.
The way it was placed.
Where's that picture at, guys? I don't have a picture of me jumping a monkey. Oh, no, you don't want to see that picture.
You don't jump
Alright.
the monkey. The monkey jumps you.
That's me jumping a rear-mounted rucksack. It's hard for you guys to see the rucksack. It is below my parachute, and it's the same color as my parachute. But I'm actually jumping a rucksack in that picture, guys. Now, you notice how flat my body is? That's because my rucksack is catching enough air to basically cancel out its
Let me see the
weight.
picture.
Steve was jumping something slightly bigger than my ruck, but 10 times the freaking weight of it. We don't ever jump rucks more than a training mission jump. It might weigh 60, 80 pounds. But if you're just doing a combat equipment jump on Fort Campbell, your shit weighs 30, maybe 40 pounds tops.
Yeah.
Because you got to carry it out to the airplane. You know, that airplane, you've seen it. That MC-130, right? the military cargo plane. It pulls up, and you're all standing there, and you got your oxygen mask hanging, parachute on your back, big rucksack on your back, and you're standing there. And the pilot opens the window. He looks right at you, and he waves, and he pulls up. And they got the ramp down already. They drive right by, and then they drive off, and they park about 500 meters away from you, and you're like, that motherfucker.
Yeah.
What? Right? It's like, why would he do that? He's being a dick. He's making you waddle with all your weight. Remember, the parachutes weigh 60 pounds, all right, MC4, and then you've got your rucksack underneath it. You got your rifle on one side. You got 2 oxygen bottles on the other side. You waddle all the way out till you get on the airplane. So why do the pilots do that? They do it because all the Halo guys get on. We're up at the front of the plane. And then all the static line guys get on. They're the ones that are, we're going to jump at 12,000 feet. They're going to jump at 1,200 feet. Well, the plane takes off and it has to fly nap of the earth first. It's part of the training. Well, all the guys in the back, they get air sick and they start vomiting all over the plane and vomit everywhere. They pop up to 1,200 feet. All the static line guys go out, and then the plane goes up to 12,000 feet or 25,000 feet, wherever the jump's been approved for, and then we jump out. Meanwhile, that plane's got to fly back home, and then the air crew's got to clean all that vomit out. And they don't like cleaning that vomit out. They don't, but it's, so anyways, that's how the crew chief explained it to me. That's why they do that. That's their payback for our guys vomiting. And you'll see guys peeing in the floor of the plane because they got to take a pee. And you can't get to the bathroom because you've got 40 jumpers and everybody's got rucksacks and stuff. So you unzip, you stretch your shit out, and you let that shit go between your legs. And get a little on your marrows, no big deal. Like you've never peed on a plane, Steve. I can honestly say I have never thrown up on an airplane. I never have. I got close a bunch of times.
Yeah. The TR Nation, how you guys doing? Over there in Aussie land, Aussie.
Actually, she is on her way to the States right now.
Okay, we'll talk to the
She's
rest
coming to
of them.
Patreon course. There are others.
Talk to the
over
rest
there.
of them. Home defense. That's been on my mind lately. And I talk to you guys often about it. A lot of you guys that text back and forth to me, I talk a lot about it. I always talk about one is none, two is one. And it really stuck out to me with this recent war going on between Israel and Hamas. They talked about the families that the terrorists entered their homes, and they literally waded through the families. And
these are families that just within the last 5 years had to give up their guns at home.
And I could just try to imagine. One, I know their mindsets over there. People here in the States just will not understand the level of hate that these guys have. I mean, I'm talking about a level of savagery you just won't understand unless you're around them.
Mm-hmm. And people don't get it. People here don't get it. That somebody can hate you that much.
And don't even know why. And to have their, I mean, they don't have the Second Amendment, but to have their Second Amendment rights taken away from them, and to have someone come into your home fully armed, not with the intent of robbing you or threatening you or
even kidnapping you,
but to kill you. You know, I mean, basically
brutally kill you.
And you know, I've been texting back and forth with some guys that are actually over there now, and they've been briefed up on everything that happened, even though you got all these protesters saying, "Oh, that's not happened. That's not fake." You can't fake that, okay? And they showed me some pictures and stuff that I just imagine not just one or two families, but multiple families in neighborhoods where they just walk through your front door and shoot you. And you have to have the ability to make them fear you. You have to have the ability to make them fear pain or death. If you don't have that ability, No one's coming. No one's coming. No 911. No, oh, if something happens, I call the police. 10, 15, 20-minute response time here in the United States. Over there was 24, 48-hour response time. And it just, it's sickening to think about all these protests here in the United States, that, especially at these colleges, where someone would actually side with the terrorist incident, talking about colonization.
Yeah,
guys, you can go back 1,000 years. You can go back 1,000 years, and it's been the same. You can go through the Ottoman Empire.
It's never been Palestine. It has never been Palestine. Never.
Well,
never.
The thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is, even during the time of Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior, the people that are now called Palestinians, if you look in the Bible, they are Philistines. The Romans, when they conquered Jerusalem and that whole area, the Roman word for Palestine, Palestinian, was Philistine. It's kind of like with Spanish, if you say Jesus, to them is Jesus. So what we're calling the Palestinians right now in Palestine was actually the Philistines. Look up the Philistines in the Bible, and you'll find out what these people, their lineage is. Plus, they're dealing with Iran, and that's the Shia Muslims. Remember, the Shia are the ones that attacked the Sunni Muslims in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And they did the same thing in Kuwait. They raped, murdered, and killed until they saw us coming, and they turned and ran. And the A-10s came in and said, you know what? You can run, but you're going to die tired.
I got a question here along these lines. James Whitaker asks, do you think having an AR pistol in a backpack for church security is a good call? Not just church security, but guys, last Friday when they said, hey, this is our day of jihad, all of you guys, if you weren't walking around strapped, you should have been staying home. Steve brought me something, and I actually don't know who these other ones go to, Steve. This is a folding stock adapters made by Law Tactical. I have another one by Sylvan Arms, which is smoother acting, and some people will say better, but it's aluminum. So the varsity team tested them, and they found the Law Tactical one, which is metal, steel, holds up better. So it all depends whether you want smoother, sexier acting, go with the Sylvan Arms one, or if you want something rugged to take daily use, Law Tactical folder. I just put this on my short-barreled rifle. I have a registered short-barrel rifle, completely legal, ATF tax stamp, blah, 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 blah. And guys, it folds down to next to nothing in a little book bag. Not even like I usually use a skateboard. It's called a board bag for carrying a AR. But a lot of your school resource officers now carry ARs with folding stocks on them, and it's a good option. Does it take away the reliability of your weapon? It does not. It does not. It
increases the portability.
Yeah.
Increases the concealability. I put one, or I had Big Al put one on my Rock River Arms LAR 47, AR-15 that takes AK-47 mags. And
we just did a video on it last week, guys.
And it really changes the aspect of the whole system, because my bag, and unlike Carl, I'm not going to tell you what my bag is, but that system with the 16.5-inch barrel, I had to find a bag that's going to cover something that's 40 inches long. Now, it basically put me down to about 32 inches. And it changed the total aspect of how I carry it, where I carry it, when I carry it. I mean, it's just so convenient to have that capability. And not saying that there aren't ARs out there that have folding stocks. A lot of the AR
well, the
pistols,
SIGs, the new SIG
yeah,
ones
SIG.
do. Yep.
But if you already have ARs, okay, and you want a folding stock, that's the system. You know, I'm not here technically promoting Law Tactical. They sent us some systems, and we appreciate it, and we're continuing to review them. But I'll tell you, it really changed.
Notice I didn't say I put it on my work gun. I did not put it on my work gun. I'm trying it out, and we'll see how well they run. As far as for church security, guys, yes, but I would rather you spend the actual time training with those pistols. Make sure you are good at distance with your pistols. Church security, and I don't know how big your church is. If you're there with was it Tommy and Nancy back in the day? If you've got a big church with 100,000 people in it, maybe you need a long gun. Hell, maybe you need snipers up in the roof or up in the ceiling rafters. I don't know, but. Church security, guys, most important person is those greeters. They're the ones that can interrogate people visually from a distance. You need to have a good church security plan so that they can say like a code word or something so that if there's a threat out in the parking lot or a possible threat before that person even gets close to the building, you can already be making adjustments inside the building. Right. And honestly, because it's the security guys are not always outside. They're not always there. Your first line of defense for any religious establishment is going to be your greeters, the people at the door. They need to be trained how to read people, body stance, body language, stuff like that.
You know, and the difficulty with dealing with terrorists, if they're of a Muslim background, is they have the system called jihad. And basically the jihad is you as an individual are directed by Allah, their God, to war on the infidels. It's in the Quran. Anyone that's not them is an infidel. It says in their Bible that their duty is to kill infidels.
One thing I want to stress to you guys, because I know we might have some Muslims in the chat room, and that's fine, guy, dude. You be whatever religion you want. If you want to worship, if you want to worship the devil, that's fine. Go ahead. You know, fine. But if you're on the fence, if you're an atheist that says, well, you know, you can worship whoever you want, that's fine. But one thing I'll tell you is if your clerics are telling you you can get into heaven by killing innocent women and children, you're going to the wrong church. You really are.
And what I'm saying, I'm not saying anything against good people. There are good people in every religion.
That's just how they got raised.
In every country.
Their parents were Muslim, and their parents were Muslim, and it got handed down.
I have many friends that are Muslim overseas. I have so many friends. I served for 30 years, 24 years in 5th Group. That's the Middle East. I spent a lot of time over there, and I have really great friends, and I communicate with them still. You know, email, text sometimes, stuff like that. And at some point, the way we do here in America, it's like we have these groups. So let's say like the KKK and other things, white supremacists or any other type of negative type organization. The good people in America say, you know what, we're not going to have that. You're either going to have to change, stand down, or we'll deal with you, you know, in a lawful way. And you know, I remember being in language school, you know, for a year learning Persian, another year learning Arabic, and all our instructors are Muslims. Mr. Ashley is Lebanese.
Yeah.
And he and I would have conversations every day after class, just, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And why are your people doing this? And he said, well, why is America doing this? Back and forth. And I look at the situation in the Ukraine, and I talked about this about 9 months ago. Some of you guys in the chat room were like, oh, Steve, you know what? Wagging the dog is wagging the dog. If you guys recall, when the war first started, all the news outlets that were over in Ukraine, no matter it was CNN, MSNBC, Fox, or whatever, the reporter was always talking in one camera. In the background were always these churches with the golden dome, steeples, whatever you call it. So that kind of reminded me of Biden and Obama doing the run for Biden's election. There was always Biden and Obama, and the camera stayed on the stage. You could never see what was going on. And with Trump's rallies, there were a million people, and the cameras were always. But with Obama and Biden, the camera stayed there because they didn't want you to see what was going on back there. And in Ukraine, if you look at last year, the background was always the same. Cameras never moved. And they didn't want you to see those people sitting outside at the cafe, sipping coffee, going about their business every day. Because I said, one time I saw one news reel, I said, wait, look at these people. They're walking up and down the streets, they're driving, they're having a good time. There's no war going on. You want to see the difference? Go back a year ago and look at the Ukraine scenarios on the news, and now look at Israel. That's a war, people. That's not wagging the dog. You can tell the difference. The Ukraine shots, there would be some knocked down building, and they'll say, artillery hit this building, knocked it down, one person died, and God bless the person that died. In Israel, we're talking hundreds of people, and that's not the way the Soviet Union does it. When they come hard. Okay? Go ahead.
No, I got a question here for you. 1911 Smoking Gun asks, what do you make of the Lake City ammo halt on civilian sales? Did you see that, Steve?
No, I didn't.
Lake City, guys, if you're not familiar, Lake City is a big ammo factory that makes ammo for the military. And for a long time, I think Federal had it.
Yeah.
Right?
Federal.
And they change ownership to a different company every so many years. The factories stay the same, but management changes. That's their way of
I think it's every 6 years.
Every 6?
Winchester had it, then ATK, which is Federal.
ATK.
They had it.
Yeah.
They have
it now?
I don't know.
I think it went back to Winchester. I might be wrong on that. I don't know who has it right now. One thing I will say, though, is they just announced it today that Lake City is suspending sales of their ammo to civilians. Now, hear me out. All right. If you guys have been watching all the money we've been sending to Ukraine, right? You all been watching. Now, understand, politicians get their cut. They're not good at being slick about it over in Ukraine because they're basically Russians. So you have to blatantly bribe the generals. You have to blatantly bribe the politicians. But back here in the States, our politicians, they're slick. You don't directly hand them a stack of money. They go, oh, no, I don't accept bribe. My personal assistants over there. They get their money, okay? But a lot of our military aid that we send overseas it comes with the stipulation that they have to buy United States arms or United States ammo. And a good example of that is we don't have any 777 Paladins anymore. If you don't know what a Paladin is, that is a 155 self-propelled artillery piece. All of them in the U.S. Army were given to Ukraine. We have whole artillery units that don't have any guns here in the U.S. Army, right? Wouldn't that suck? The promise, though, that money that was spent was to buy brand new, latest and greatest computerized models of all these M777 Paladin self-propelled artillery pieces. Meanwhile, all the other ones got shipped over there. Okay. But if you also check on the news today, you'll see that France, which is one of the companies that makes 155 artillery shells, has just said they are ramping up production to 400 times what they made. 400% more than what they made in 2022. 2024, they by the end of this year, they will be putting out 4 times as many 155 shells. And all those shells, they're not giving them to Ukraine. They're not giving them to Israel. They're going to sell them because that's how France pays the bills. All right, it's the same thing with ammo coming out of Lake City. 7.62 by 51, 5.56 by 54. Because we've given all these M16s and M4s to Ukraine. We've sold them to them. Okay. Adams Arms has made hundreds of guns to be shipped over there. They got paid for all they got paid for those guns, guys. They got paid for those guns. So my point for saying that is, once the guns are over there, they've got to feed those guns. The politicians are still going to get their money. They get that percentage, but a lot of that money gets put back in the U.S. companies, medical gear, food, all that stuff, transportation, trucks, all that stuff. They're having it's in contract. All that's coming from U.S. companies, right? And it's the same for every war, guys. World War I was so a few select businessmen could make more money. We'd make a lot more money if we had a small war. They didn't plan on it growing into a bigger war and then the biggest war and then the war to end all wars, World War I. World War II completely changed the industrial complex in the United States. We've learned from it, all right? And we're efficient at it. So a lot of people bitch that all this money goes to the big industrial war machine. Carl, you weren't fighting for freedom. You were fighting for oil. Yes. No, I was fighting for freedom for America, but my politicians were sending me over there for freedom, but at the same time to line their own pockets. And that's just how politicians are. It's how they are, guys. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And until you're going to pass laws that will keep out inside trading, that will keep out all these lobbyists, until you pass laws like that, you're never going to change it. And oh, by the way, who has to pass those laws? Not you. You don't get a say. You don't get a vote on these laws. You elect politicians, and then because they've been getting reelected for so long, right? It's sad, guys. It really is. All right, we've had a couple more come in here. Crazy stuff. Without further ado, ask Carl and Steve, do either of you have any experience with anti-shatter window film? Yeah, it's called Lexan. Basically what it is, it's really thick, clear window tint. When we would go overseas, for example, we were doing plainclothes ops in Jordan. We were training up the Iraqi counter-terrorist force, the ICTF, Task Force Raptor. All right. This picture taken of me with, that's Rolex. That's our military working dog. That's his handler. This is Company Sergeant Major Erickson. Yes, that's a night sight mounted on my rifle. All right. We were out on an op with Task Force Raptor, our Iraqi, their version, it's the Iraqi Delta, basically. We trained those guys to be the best of the best in Iraq. But we didn't train them in Iraq. The actual operator school was in Jordan. So for the for the Green Beret instructors living in Jordan, they had a flat. They had a 3-story apartment. They weren't on a secure facility. So what do? You have to harden your facility, sandbags up underneath the windows. Over all the windows, we would put peel and stick Lexan. And that way, if there was a bomb outside, instead of it blowing all the windows and shards of glass, cutting you all off, that one sheet of Lexan would blow in and just land on the coffee table. Lexan is good stuff. And if you can't afford the good Lexan stuff, Honest Guy's really thick clear window tint. You can use tinted window tint, but I prefer clear so you can see through it better. We're talking about anti-shatter window film.
Okay.
I use the example of Chris Papard and the guys training up the ICTF in Jordan.
Okay.
All right, we just had another one come in, guys. This is from Gavin Simpkins. He threw down 5 Australian quid of the Queen's money. Hi, Carl. Question for Steve about scopes. Do some scopes come with this on them to stop the anti-glare bouncing back at you? I think he's talking about the honeycomb hoods that go over the front.
Well, most scopes come with, the scope covers just to protect your lens.
The tubes, yeah.
Not the tubes, but the little flip-up plastic things.
Butler Creek.
But the
ARD,
caps. It's called the ARD, anti-reflection device, the honeycomb. The company that makes it, they make models that fit just about any scope out there.
You can get it for deer hunting, guys.
Yeah, but
I never used them.
Well, when they first came out, we were the first ones to ever have them and use them in combat.
I don't doubt.
And the guy that designed it, invented it, Peter, can't remember Peter's name. He came to me one time at a SHOT Show and he said, "Hey, he's Steve Holland." And I said, "Well, I'm in military uniform and it says Holland." Yeah, good guess. Woodchuck, as Carl would say. No, Peter was a good guy. And he said, "I got this invention that I think you guys might like." And then he pulled it out and he showed it to me. And at the time we were using the M68 CCOS, the aim point, and the Trijicon reflex sight.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And he had models for that, and we put them on, and I distributed them out to the guys in the group. And they came back. They said they liked them. Some guys didn't. That's just the way it is.
I didn't like them because they made it dim, just a little bit.
Yeah. But it's one of those situations where, like, if you're a sniper, I mean, we used to put the ghillie material or a woman's pantyhose over our objective lens with a rubber band to defeat the glare, depending on where you were. Urban work, that is seriously a problem. If you have loopholes set up, then you're not going to get the light, the reflection. They come in handy. I have a couple of them on a couple of my optics. I like them in certain situations, but the car said if it's at night, I usually take them off.
Got another one here from Pete over in Hong Kong. He threw down 10 Hong Kong dollars. I think that's like $2. All right, Pete here. Any news on Gun in a Box from Mill Systems Group? I did that video on it back in the day, but you understand, I don't ride around in a Tacoma pickup truck in Africa anymore. So I really haven't been reaching out to Mill Systems Group saying, hey, any update on your Gun in a Box? All right. So no, Peter, I'm sorry, I don't have any update on it.
Oh my God, see, that was, we did that one back in, I don't know.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
Jay Johnson had the lead on that.
Yep.
And that's when Pony Maples, William Horton took over from Pony Maples Military Systems Group. And now Joe Whalen.
Sloppy Joe. All right, Philip Wilson threw down $5. My wife has had the split eye LASIK surgery. Her right eye is short-sighted. Is there a setup that she can use to shoot an AR-15 or pistol caliber carbine? Yeah, honest, I would push her to a 1X micro prism by Primary Arms. And here's why. I'm trying to see if I have one here on my desk. I don't have the micro prism, but here I'll talk about is unlike a red dot. It is, see the orange box, second shelf down, 2 feet from this side. Steve's gonna grab it. Up, it's up top. Up. No, bottom second shelf, 2 feet from the left. See the orange box that says 5X micro prism?
Reflex.
I can't see that one right up top. It's top of that shelf. No, down a little bit. That up. You're colorblind, aren't you, Steve?
Oh, this one.
Where's your hand? Raise your hand up. Raise your hand right there. That box. Grab me that one. Not that hard. All right. You got it, Steve? Is it empty? Oh, that's the wrong box. Shit. See the one below it? Now the one under that one. That one right there. That's the 5X. All right, guys. Now this is a 5X micro prism. Don't get your wife this one. I mean, unless she's going to shoot long distance. But you guys know I run a 1X micro prism on my work gun. Here's the advantage for your wife. What you're saying is your wife has had what they call monocular vision. In other words, she had LASIK done, but she had one eye for reading glasses distance, and then she had her other eye for long distance. That's how most people do it. Okay. All right. By you going with a 1X micro prism, all right, that eye that can only see at reading distances is made for like reading books. She can't see anything out there. That wouldn't work with a red dot, right? Because she needs to be able to see the battlefield. By her getting a 1X micro prism, all right, this right here, you see how I can turn that? That allows her to focus the objective lens so to match her actual eyesight in her eye. So whatever side she shoots that rifle on, she can, and this goes for all you guys. If you get older, you are. I'm 56. Steve is coming up on 90. All right. Our eyes start to go bad. So unlike a EOTech or a red dot where you see normal, like how your eyes see, you put the red dot on the target, you pull the trigger. That's fine if you've got good eyesight. But one of the advantages of a prism is it has got this adjustable ocular lens, and that would allow your wife to focus. Thank you, Steve, for getting it. Steve actually fled. He went out to go refill his water bottle or something. I don't know. I appreciate Steve going to go get that for me. I mentioned this is the 5X, you guys heard me say don't get your wife this. I don't mean that this is not a good scope, guys. The 5X is a good scope. Me personally, I like the 3X. The glass is a little clearer. It's the same glass, but less magnification. It transmits light better. It will appear brighter at sunset and sun up. All right. But the reason why I say go with the 1X is because a lot of our family members, whether it's your dad, your mom, your daughter, your son, your brother, whoever it is, a lot of people do not train a lot. So that's the advantage of a red dot, is you can bring a red dot up, and if they can just see with both eyes open, put the red dot on the target, roll through the selector lever, roll through the trigger, and they're getting rounds on target. Okay. Same thing with the micro prism if it's a 1X. Now, if you're running a 3X, then they're like, oh, it looks different. If they keep both eyes open, they can use the bend and aiming concept. I got that. But you're talking about additional training, and I would just say go with the 1X. I started running that 1X micro prism. Guys, I think we're coming up on 2 years now. 2 years. And I said I was going to run it till it broke. And then, okay, it's made it 1.5 years. And that's awesome with me beating us. Because you remember, you guys got to understand, I break EOTechs. I break aim points. I break everybody's stuff. I break it. All right. I'm coming up on 2 years and it still hasn't broken yet. So I'm going to keep beating on it, but it has for sure won me over. All right. Ignore the duplicate. All right. Yeah, honest. All right, so I got that one. That was from Philip Wilson. We already did that one. Got another one came in from Gavin Simpkins for you. Yeah, Gavin Simpkins. Philip Wilson.
Okay, while we're doing that, back to my focus subject for the night.
Focus subject.
Was terrorists. A good friend of mine recently got back from Central America, down there doing some things. He told me, he said, Steve, I saw more Chinese males, military-age males, not families, in El Salvador than I saw El Salvadorans.
And they're all heading north.
So you think about the southern border, you think about what's going on in Israel, with the Israelis, who have the greatest intelligence apparatus that there is. And Hamas says they've been working on this for 2 years. So if they can fool the Israeli Mossad and the rest of their intel network, we got people in Central America coming across the southern border, and the Border Patrol has already said they have, I don't know, 100,000 gotaways. Think about it.
That's a division. That's over a division.
No, that's 10 divisions.
10 divisions.
Yeah, that's 10 divisions. Think about it. Everyone coming across the border, they say, hey, here I am. I'm not hiding from you. Take me, because I'm going to get 3 meals.
And a phone. They give all of them a phone now. They give them a phone.
And
why
an
would
Xbox
you give them a phone?
and everything else? But you still got guys that they have on camera avoiding that. They're in camouflage. They're carrying backpacks. They're males. They're moving in a military formation, and they're coming across the border. If Hamas was able to do what they did and get past the Israeli intel for 2 years planning this assault, we are going to have a difficult time here in America next year.
That's why you guys got to stay strong.
In my opinion, they're here. There are cells. We know this, but they haven't activated yet. So, like Hamas put everything in place, and they activated everybody at the same time, hitting different entry points in Israel at the same time. You take the same amount of people and you put them in our major cities, and they all activate at the same time, we're going to have a hard time. Because to me, everything is about next year, the election in Trump. They are doing everything, and I say they, the New World Order, the dirty Democrats, whatever you want to call them, they're doing everything they can to stop Trump from running next year. And I always say this one thing. They would rather be kings of ashes than not kings at all. They'd rather be in charge of a country that's burning than not be in charge at all. We've seen all the things that they do. I recently saw a video, and I haven't quite confirmed yet, but it looks like it's true. The Biden administration was charging the Americans in Israel for them to bring them back home. Basically, they had to sign a document that said the government is going to fly you or put you on a ship and bring you back home, but you have to reimburse the government whatever the cost is. Really? Really? I mean, think about that. They can give $70 billion to Ukraine to kickstart their small businesses and all this other stuff that allegedly, they got deprived of because of the war. But you're going to take Americans that are in a war zone who want to come home and can't come home because they stopped flights. But then you got Governor DeSantis in Florida who sent planes to Israel. And kudos to him. He sent planes to Israel. A governor of the state sent planes to bring his Floridians back home and didn't charge them a dime. If we go in on a hostage rescue, we say, hey, man, we're at the door. We're about to blow this door. But make sure we're going to slip some paper under the door. And you sign that paper while the terrorists aren't watching, saying that we rescue you, and we're going to put you on a C-5 and fly you back to the United States, but you got to reimburse the Air Force for it. Really?
Guys, I know a lot of people will say, all right, Steve Holland's tin hat. All right, but here's the deal. All the Chinese immigrants coming across. Why? Why are all the Chinese immigrants coming? Why? Go look at China. All right, quit looking at it like you're an American. Look at it as though you're in China. Remember, for years and years and years, the population was growing too fast. So if you had more than one child, that's all that you were allowed. So families wanted to have a male to carry on the family name, right? So they were deliberately aborting females because they wanted to have a male to carry on the family. And China stopped doing that now. But you've got, I want to say it's like hundreds of males in China per female. All right. You think you can't get laid on a U.S. college campus? Try getting laid in China right now if you're a Chinaman. There's not enough females going around. So I understand a lot of Chinese. Somebody said it, the way to tell how great a nation is by looking at the number of people that are trying to immigrate there. We are hands down the greatest nation on the planet. For my guys in Germany and my Dutch guys and Australians, everybody watching, I know you think your country's awesome, but the reality is deep down inside, you all know you suck. All right, America, we are the number one country on the planet, and I'm proud of that. Okay, so I don't bash them for wanting to come here. All right, I don't bash them for wanting to come here, but let's say 99% of them are good people. 99% of them are just Chinese wanting a better life. All right, 100,000 a day. Right? Or 100,000 a month. What is it? 100,000 a day, ain't it? It's a crazy amount.
No, I think it was for the year for the gotaways.
For the year. Gotaways, 100,000. Out of 100,000 guys, 99% of them are good people.
No, not the gotaways.
But I'm saying, just out of the gotaways, that still means that there's 1,000 bad guys out there. And how many of them came in and like, hey, they know their paperwork's good. I'll come in and actually stop at Border Patrol. I still go to the cities. There's been millions of people immigrated. So even if 0.1% are bad, guys, you understand that's still a lot of bad guys that have come to the U.S. And it's not just MS-13 guys. It's not just human traffickers. There's a lot of government-funded operators from a lot of other countries that have come across our porous border. And again, we're not going to change anything here with how we vote. I understand you guys already know who you're voting for and everything. That's fine. I just want to reiterate to you guys that there's a lot of people that we know in different government organizations that are saying 2024 is going to be ugly. 2024 is going to be ugly in the U.S., not on other borders. It's going to be ugly in the U.S. And you need to have your house in order. And that doesn't mean buy more guns, buy more ammo, buy more freeze-dried food. You understand, you rednecks already have enough ammo under your bed. If you got a double basic load, you're good. Okay? Have ammo to train. I got that. But you guys have all seen the rules of firearm safety. They're written up on the wall at every shooting range. The rules of firearm safety, they're on the walls at the indoor shooting range. And when you go to a shooting match, they read off all the rules of firearm safety. when you go to a tactical rifleman class, I read off all the rules of firearm safety, but I also talk about, hey, you need to know how to store your weapons. You need to know how all your weapons work, how to load them, how to clear them safely. And everybody nods their heads. All you guys are nodding your heads. Okay. When you come take one of my classes, all right, I'm talking about, no, Jerry, get out of the way. Get out of the way. You guys in the back. You guys in the back. When you come take one of my classes, how many guns do you own? No, seriously, how many guns do you own? Right? Now, you show up to my class with one rifle, maybe a spare, if you're smart, and you show up with one pistol and maybe a spare, right? You got that EDC backup, okay? But where are the rest of your guns? The rest of your guns are at home, all right? Who else is at home with them? Your wife and kids, right? Or your husband or whoever. My point is, do they know how to store your firearms? Do they know how to load and unload? Do they know how to do all that? An example of that is my mother-in-law never shot a single gun in her life. But my mother-in-law, and she didn't want to learn it, but my mother-in-law learned how to unload and check my guns. All right, so I'm getting ready for a 3-gun match, watching TV. He who loads the shotgun the fastest wins in a 3-gun match. So I'm watching TV, and I've got my Remington Versamax competition and a box of dummy shells from Federal. And they're the same weight. They're dummy shells. They actually say dummy on the side. And I got quad loaders, and I'm loading. Grab 4, 2, 4, grab 2, 4. That puts 8 rounds in the gun, and then I'd clear them all out. Floor is covered with dummy shells. I load some more. My phone rings. This is my office, right? So my office, I put the shotgun down, and I took my phone. I walked out in the backyard because this is my office. I'm on a business call in the backyard. Walk around the backyard. Well, my daughter gets home from high school, and she comes crashing through the front door with 3 of her cheerleading friends. They flop down on the couch. One of them's opening the refrigerator. One of them's got the remote flipping through. My daughter sees a Remington Versamax laying on the coffee table, middle of the living room. She picks it up, pointed in a safe direction, ensures it's on safe, does a press check. There's rounds in it. No telling what she was thinking her dad was, like a dumbass. But she immediately pointed in a safe direction, walked in, and put it on my bed in the master bedroom, right? My daughter knows the rules of firearms. And they were dummy rounds. I didn't leave a gun loaded there unattended. But my daughter doesn't know dummy rounds, but my daughter and my wife and my son and my mother-in-law, and that's my point is, hypothetical situation, you're not home, and all of a sudden what happened in Israel happens here in the U.S. You're not home. You're off wherever. Can your family take care of your family until you get back there? Because you understand, if you drove 20 minutes to work, right, maybe you work 20 minutes away from home. A lot of you work an hour away from home, but let's say you have to drive 20 minutes to work in the morning. Guys, that's 22 miles, 23 miles if you got up on the highway. How long is that going to take you to get home if you can't drive? Rule of thumb, if you do our modern survival courses, that's 2-day walk, guys, right? You plan 10 miles a day, okay? But that's a long time. My point is that's a long time. Can your family take care of your family until you get home? Understand, I'm getting ready to leave to go to my Patreon course, and it's 1,000 miles away. 1,000 miles away. Is the hill ready to take care of the hill while I'm gone? All right, that's not a question for you guys. That's a question for me. All right, your situation's different from mine, but we live in the same world, and I know 99.9% of the immigrants coming across the border are good people. They are. They just want to make a better life for themselves, and that's why they come to the greatest country on the planet. I understand that. And the reality is we need them because good people aren't having kids anymore, number one. All right? They're not. They're not good people aren't having kids anymore in the U.S., but that's planetary wide. Number two, you see all the stores and restaurants that have help wanted signs, and nobody will work. Nobody will pick the tobacco here in Trigg County that's coming into harvest right now. They have to bring migrant workers in. You got all these people sitting in the projects collecting unemployment and welfare. No, but there's all the stores have got unemployment, help wanted signs. All right. So we need these immigrants. We need them. We need them. Okay. We do need them. We need them. But understand, even if it's 0.1% have ill intent, even if it's 100% when you're letting in millions of people, millions of people. We're not supposed to be doing politics here tonight, guys. My wife specifically asked me not to do politics. So we've obviously failed at that. So I'm going to try to move on here. Gavin Simpkins threw down another £5 of the Queen's money down there in Australia. Steve, just to follow up that question, that we Aussie is used to use our old style fly screens over our scopes back in the 80s. Yep, I got that. Us same here. Steve touched on that earlier. Woodman is asking about a trigger malfunction with a Grunt 1 trigger, and if you have had any thoughts on it. Grunt 1, I'm assuming you're talking about a Grunt AR built by Tactical Edge. I've never had any problems with my Grunt trigger or the trigger that's in my TR1 rifle. One thing I will say is I've completely cut ties with Tactical Edge. I told them to quit taking new orders for TR1 rifles over a year ago. I told them to pull it off their website and that I didn't even want to talk to them until they have fulfilled all those orders. I got a email today from a guy that still has not gotten his TR1 rifle. So, guys, if you are waiting on a TR1 or a Grunt rifle or whatever, I apologize that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, understand my interaction with that company 3-4 years ago was awesome. And Bobby, the CEO of the company, was putting out great rifles. But that was 3 or 4 years ago. And Bobby completely shit in my mouth. He has been screwing you guys over. I got guys that have been waiting almost 3 years for a TR1 rifle. Meanwhile, they're making other guns to sell. And I've got orders that haven't been filled. So that's him, because my guys paid up front. And that's bad business. I look forward. They're being investigated by the ATF right now. They're being sued by a big gun company. I won't say Daniel Defense on the open internet because that would be wrong. But I hope Tactical Edge completely fails. And what Bobby did to I understand he's walking a line between being criminal and just being a bad businessman. I got that. But he made me look bad.
What's the name of the company?
Tactical Edge out of Clarksville.
Tactical Edge. Shame on you.
Shame
now you know
on
how I feel
you.
about Precision Reflex.
Man.
With the Mark 12.
I know, dude. You got screwed over. Bobby screwed me over. Bobby at Tactical Edge owes me a lot of money, guys. And I don't get me wrong. I want my money. I do. But at the same time, I would completely write off the money if he would square up with all of my followers that tried to buy rifles from him. Man, he pisses me off when guys, you're just getting my blood pressure up. I wish you hadn't even mentioned it. All right, Steve, we are past the 2 hour mark already. You got anything you want to talk about this week? TR1 Nation.
Take a look at the latest TR Nation Tactical Rifleman YouTube short video. Call, bring a knife to a gunfight.
That's the one that went viral.
Exactly. But for those who didn't hear about it, haven't seen it, take a look at that. That is something that, to me, it's an essential item to have on your gear in the kit, and not only have it, but practice with it sometimes. Get you a dummy knife, and just practice drills. Look at the video. Call is showing you everything, because it happens. Okay. As I always say, just in day-to-day life, have a knife, have a flashlight. You'd be surprised.
6.9 million views, guys. 6.9 million views. Ain't that cool?
Very cool.
6.9. I know you guys can't read that. 6.9 million views. Ain't that crazy? Crazy. I don't really like the video. But I've done a bunch of videos about how I set up my body armor back in the day when I was in an assault unit. And the funny part is I get all these comments on the videos. Oh, you're carrying too much stuff. Nobody would ever carry that. And the whole time I'm like, really? I've got like 7 different sets of body armor upstairs. Some have got Afghani dirt on them. Some have got Iraqi dirt. Some have got Saudi and Kuwait dirt. Jordanian dirt, African dirt. But they've all been worn. They've all been worn overseas.
One is done. One is none.
And guys, here's one right here. All right, that's me right here, guys. That's me. All right, I'm wearing steel plates. Steel plates. Steel. All right, why? Because my level 4 standalone multi-hip plates were in my assault body armor, but that is my sniper kit. So I have my low-vis plate carrier, which had steel plates, and then over the top of it is my chest rig that had my radio, 10 20-round SR-25 mags, all right, a frag grenade, a couple door charges, 100-ounce Camelback on the back, and that's not counting the 3-day pack. All right, we carried a lot of stuff, Still had my gun belt, had my Beretta with the barrel on it for taking the Knight's Armament suppressor, and magazines for that. And anyways, I carry a lot of kit, guys, but there's nothing extra. Everything had a mission requirement. And so when people bash me on these videos for carrying too much stuff, I understand. If your mission is home defense, you probably don't need 6 flashbangs and a couple of door charges. I got that. I got it. If your mission is home defense, you probably don't need a 148 embedder radio with a spare battery on it. You probably don't need that.
But if you got access to flashbangs, go for it. I love myself some bangs.
I always carried one frag. Never threw a frag in combat, guys. Not one time. Never threw a frag in combat. Threw a lot of flashbangs. Oh my God, did we throw a lot of flashbangs. But I always carried that frag because a frag grenade puts an explanation point on the end of a question, on the end of a sentence. If you want to get the point across, you want to put that explanation point at the end of it, right? You want to put the line and a dot, throw a frag grenade. If you're in a bad building, the enemy's got the drop on you, they got spider holes cut, PK machine guns are cutting the feet out of the assaulters, or you look and it's a VBIED hanging on the wall, you key the radio, you yell "bad house" 3 times, and you throw a frag in that room. And you know what? Everybody, no matter what they were talking about, even if they couldn't hear you on the radio, they all heard the explanation point at the end of that sentence. They all heard it. They all heard it. Nobody get frag grenade. Never had to throw one. Never had to throw one.
Ranger Davis, in reference to your question about Europeans coming across the border, yes, there are Europeans coming across the border. There are Afghans coming across the border. There are Iranians coming across the border. There are Iraqis coming across the border. There's Chinese coming across the border. There's different nations within the African continent coming across the border. And as you see from the mayor in New York, he went down to the border, then he went down to Mexico because they're sanctuary cities, but now they're saying we can't handle the load. Or Chicago, the same thing. No city can handle an influx of over 100,000 people as far as food, water, shelter, and living. Okay? 3 weeks ago, they came out with the jobs report, and everybody was dancing, saying that, oh my gosh, employment is up. Hell yeah, it's up. You're bringing across, 4, 5, 600,000 people, and they're taking up these jobs. Of course, the Biden administration, their employment.
Also, a lot of them were government-made jobs because the government is hiring more people, a lot more people. I think that's wrong to be including that in the jobs list. Hey, Steve, don't forget that's yours to bring home with you. Steve's EOTech. All right, guys, we are coming up on 2.5 hour marks. You realize you guys sat here for 2.5 hours listening to my verbal diarrhea. Number one, thank you for hanging out with us. But two, you guys really got to get a life. You really do. I love y'all. Guys, I apologize. I don't have the 2024 calendar posted yet. I'm still waiting to hear back from a few instructors on classes that they want to add. I am going to try to cut back my classes next year so I can spend more time with my wife. I owe her more time. Okay, but that said, we're going to add more classes next year with other instructors. All right.
My final thought on this war and the amount of people we have already in the country that came across the border, especially the gotaways. If you have 100,000 people in one city and 10% of them are terrorist oriented and they're activated, look at what Israel is already having to deal with when they go into Gaza, because fighting in a city, house to house, building to building.
Ugly.
New York, just one building. What, 20, 25 stories? You know what it takes to clear one building? And once they get in there, if you have a 1 million man march, no police force in any city can handle 1 million men. I don't care, if it's one perp or one, person that they say, hey, this person is inciting insurrection or whatever, and they send, the SWAT team and 20 officers to this guy's house, yeah, they take him down. But if it's 100,000 or 10,000, there's no police force in any city in this country that can handle that volume of people. And keep in mind, they don't have rules of engagement. They can give a shit less. Okay? And my thing was always no women, no children. Okay? Not saying that there wasn't any women like the one in Sarajevo that Sue tracked down, the sniper, because she smoked about 55 people. But even if I got her in my crosshairs, it's probably like, man, I'm telling you. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. There's so many different scenarios, and they have time to plan. Hamas planned this for 2 years, dug tunnels for 2 years, put people in certain areas and certain spots. When I go to D.C., for different projects, different work, I don't discuss anything related to who I am, what I've done, what I'm doing when I'm in a cab. Because all those cab drivers, dude, that's the greatest intel network in the world. Because I don't remember sitting in the cab and having a cab driver that was American. I mean, you look at their identification, you look at the visa and everything else, and it's like
It's me, Abdullah.
it's like, who better than cab drivers? They can tell, because I've had people sit in the cab and say, "Hey, when we get to the thing, but I said, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Oh no, he's just
High risk travel
just.
course, guys. We're going to
Yeah.
cover all that stuff in high risk travel course. Taxis is not the place to be talking stuff.
So just keep that in mind. And 1 is none. 2 is 1. I was joking with the guys from the night vision course in Louisville on a text a couple of days ago, and we were talking about the 5.7, and they said, "Well, I don't like that one, but that's a good price." I said, "Yeah, because at a good price, you can have 1 in the bedroom, 1 in the car, 1 in the kitchen, because 1 is none, 2 is 1." I always think when I'm walking around the house, okay, if something happened right here, right now, what's my closest?
Yeah.
Then I get to the other side of the house. If something happens right here, what's my closest? If I walk outside, something happens, what's my closest? I'm always thinking about that.
Yeah.
And always, whether you have to open boxes or cut rope or do something, have a knife on you personally and have a light. Even in the daytime. I can't think of how many times, especially overseas, when you walk into the Middle Eastern buildings, they're set up to block the sunlight because it's hot as hell over there. And you walk in, your eyes have to adjust, although you're chasing somebody down inside a crawl space or a tunnel or basement, and you go, my light is on my gun, but sometimes you don't want to point your firearm weapon at everybody. So if someone's down, I need a light. If I have to go through a crawl space or attic, I need a light. Okay? So always have a knife, have a light on you personally.
All right, we're going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. We are at 2.5 hours. Again, I want to give a big thank you to Sportsman's Guide for sponsoring tonight. That's them right there, guys. Go to Sportsman's Guide, check them out. Just click on the website. Send them an email saying, hey, thanks for supporting Tactical Rifleman. If you decide to sign, Sportsman's Guide is like Costco on the internet. You sign up, it's a yearly fee, and you get discounts, members discounts off of everything. And anybody can buy there, but I guess it's like going to Kroger. If you're a member, you save a little bit more.
To me, it's kind of like going to Cabela's or Bassmaster or something like that.
Well, they have everything there, but if you're a member, you save a little bit more money, and that's the advantage of Sportsman's Guide. What I like about them is they also do the military surplus side of the house, so that's where I get my big 30 millimeter ammo cans. So, because you just can't get, you go to a pawn shop or an army surplus, they want to charge you arm and a leg for them. Sportsman's Guide's got some awesome big containers. The bigger you want, I think they got. Good stuff, owners. I want to thank them for supporting us again tonight. Want to give a big shout out, thank you to my moderators, JT and
JT, what's up, brother?
JT and Donut. Susan's been chiming in and out. I got Manny back here tonight picking up Susan's slack. To all my patrons that are going to the Patreon course, or if you guys are attending this weekend's Gun Runner Pistol, I will see you guys in the classroom, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, day one in the classroom. It's going to be awesome. Again, if you want to sign up, I got a couple slots left. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com.
I want to give a shout out to all my peeps down in Brunswick, Georgia, Glenn County. And sorry about the whole situation down there with the immigrants taking over, all the housing down there. I mean, that's a small town. We went there.
Small town.
And, my peeps are like, man.
Can you imagine the people in Texas on the border, how they feel?
I can't imagine.
Can't fathom. Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
It's crazy.
Brunswick is maybe 35,000, 40,000 people.
Crazy.
And they got 55,000 immigrants.
Craziness, though, right?
And I understand wanting a good life,
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I got it.
every time it's time for tax time, I'm like, man, they're wearing me out.
Parting words of wisdom.
Parting words of wisdom.
Bye.